This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.
Hello, Lynn, and welcome back to this edition of the LCTV News. We have a good one for you. Many of the stories revolve around giving back and taking care of others in the community during this holiday season. What better way to celebrate and get into the holiday spirit than by learning all about the amazing work being done by several nonprofits in Lynn. The spirit of supporting others continues in our lowdowns, as you will learn more about the emotional story of the Nan Project, as well as the Lynn Public Health Department's youth programming. With that, let's jump right into the news for Friday, December 19th, 2025. The Lynn Salvation Army is giving new meaning to the season of giving. According to their commanding officer, Stephanie Garst-Villegas, this year, toy donations are serving 800 families. Over this past week, they have been distributing toys to families out of their Franklin Street location. Toy options include, but are not limited to, stuffed animals, toy cars, arts and crafts, and other games. Toys were purchased by the Salvation Army, funded largely by the Daily Items Item Santa initiative. On December 16th, Mayor Nicholson, State Representatives Sean Reed and Dan Cahill, along with Ward 5 Councilor-elect Carlise Paez, came by the warehouse to assist in toy distribution. They shared the importance of supporting those in the community who are struggling or going through tough times, emphasizing the point that all families deserve to have a special Christmas. As stated by Garces-Villegas, quote, "This helps families when they are between paying a bill or giving a toy to their children. This way they can cover their basic needs and get something beautiful for their children on Christmas." Keeping on the theme of giving, the Nahant Police Department delivered a Humvee full of toys to the Boys and Girls Club of Lynn as part of their annual Stuff a Cruiser drive. This is the fourth year that the Boys and Girls Club has collaborated with the police department on the drive, and every year the donations have grown in size. Volunteers took turns filling bags with presents, ranging from stuffed animals, toy cars to art supplies. When all was said and done, the bags filled almost an entire classroom. Getting these gifts from the town of Nahant is amazing. It helps all the kids to have such a great holiday season, and it warms my heart doing it every year, said Senior Grants Manager Jody Furlong. Nahant Police Chief Timothy Furlong echoed these sentiments, saying, quote, "It's amazing to see the event get bigger and bigger every year. The people of Nahant definitely have hearts of gold. If you ask them for something, they come through every time," end quote. Santa stopped by the LCTV studio for a free photo session with members of the community. For the fourth year, concerned citizens of Lynn teamed up with LCTV to host these free photos and a toy drive. This event was all smiles, as participants all got their turn to tell Santa what they want for Christmas before enjoying some winter snacks.
Hey everyone, this is Lisa Pressman with Concerned Citizens of Lynn. I'm down here at the LCTV studios. This is our fourth annual Free Santa photo event, partnered with Concerned Citizens and a very special to Blue House Santa. And we're here with popcorn, arts and crafts. We had a lot of toys that came for donations. I thank you all so much for this. Concerned citizens, we're still looking for donations, of course, as we always are. We do much more than just this every year. We just did the backpack events and helping the seniors and food drives, so we can use anybody's help. And we thank everyone who's been donating, volunteering, helping post the events online, and a very special thank you to our partner with LCTV and Blue House Santa.
Professional photos taken by LCTV can now be accessed and downloaded for free by visiting lyntv.org or via a Dropbox folder link. LCTV thanks everyone who helped make this event a success. Happy holidays. For LCTV News, I'm Dani Vittori. The North Shore Juneteenth Association has released their list of 2026 Local Black Excellence honorees. The 12 honorees will be recognized at a Local Black Excellence ceremony in February of 2026. This ceremony will include remarks from local leaders, formal recognition of the honorees, and an opportunity for community members to come together and celebrate. Honorees are those who have made a lasting and positive impact in fields such as community service, education, arts and culture, business, civic leadership, and advocacy. As explained by NSJA founder and president Nicole McLean, quote, "Local Black excellence is about visibility, pride, and legacy. This ceremony allows us to uplift the positive stories and powerful contributions of Black leaders while bringing our community together in a spirit of unity and celebration," end quote. Visit lyntv.org for a full list of honorees, complete with photos and bios. The waterfront, once cut off by buildings and empty lots, continues to become more accessible to residents. EDIC Lynn, Mayor Nicholson, and other elected officials were joined by members of the project crew to cut the ribbon on the newly completed Lynn Ferry walkway. With this path expansion, community members can now walk from downtown Lynn all the way to the ferry terminal on Blossom Street.
I want to thank everybody for coming here. We started this master waterfront plan. The first plan we came up with was in 2007, believe it or not. And one of the things we heard from our community, and it was very clear, was they wanted to have access to this waterfront that really has never had access. And so today we celebrate, the North Harbor site, they did their boardwalk. Now this new boardwalk right behind Clock Tower in Kettle Cuisine, and then EDIC continued it all the way down to the commuter ferry. And it wouldn't happen without the support of our mayor. I'd like to introduce our mayor, Jared Nicholson, to say a few words.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Jim Cowdell and EDIC for all your hard work on the waterfront planning. This is so exciting because of this beautiful stretch here that allows us to enjoy the waterfront, exactly what Jim said and how it connects to our goals for unlocking access to the waterfront. It's also really exciting from a transit perspective because you now can walk easily from downtown to the ferry site. We're so proud of the ferry access that we have brought to the region, 40,000 trips last year, and that's growing. And we're making these connections and allowing and encouraging the kind of investment that we all have been waiting for. And it's a true public-private partnership. We so appreciate Lou Minicucci, Ed Schatz, Arthur Papanazzi, their teams for the projects here, and of course Chapter 91 for the requirements, but all of you for fulfilling that. I want to say a thank you to Councilor Jay Walsh, who's been a leader on this and pushing to make sure this comes together in the way that we were hoping, and just see this as another sign that the waterfront that we are envisioning, that we have been waiting for so long, is coming together as we hoped, as we speak, and we all need to keep working together to drive it and enjoy it in the meantime because it's amazing. So thank you all so much.
Thank you all for coming out today. I want to thank the city and in particular Aaron Clausen for some guidance and support in designing the project and getting it underway. I want to thank the guys from GZA back here who engineered a great project. and the guys who are not here, but they're working down there to finish the lights, T. Ford and Company, who were the contractors on the job for doing a great job and bringing it in on budget and on time. And just want to, our hope here is that as a used sidewalk, we hope it's well used for many years to come, and it's a great extension of the expanded use of the water. Thank you all.
3, 2, 1.
All right, stay there.
The Lynn Parks and Recreation Department has announced their winter programming, covering a wide variety of topics. Youth cooking classes will begin on January 13th and run for 6 weeks on Tuesday nights. Classes are conducted at 8 Silsby Street and are open for youth ages 10 to 13 at a cost of $100. There is also the 2026 Lynn Ski Program, running from January 9th through February 13th. This program is open for youth ages 10 to 18, and no experience is required. Families can choose between 3 different packages, with add-ons available to rent skis, boots, and/or helmets. A bus will transport the youth from 374 Broadway to Bradford Mountain. Finally, there is the Winter Tennis Program, beginning January 13th and running until the 28th. Run out of the Fecto Leary School's gym, grades 1 through 2 are from 4 to 5 p.m., and grades 3 through 5 from 5 to 6 p.m. This program is led by a USTA-approved coach and focuses on learning the basics and developing skills. These classes are $75. For more information or to sign up, visit the Lynn Parks and Rec website. On December 17th, the Lynn Continuum of Care announced the availability of grants to end homelessness through the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development's Fiscal Year 2025 Continuum of Care Competition and Youth Homeless Demonstration Program grants. The COC will consider programs not previously funded by COC projects. Projects must fall under one of 4 categories: transitional housing, supportive services, permanent housing, and/or homeless management information system. HUD will also consider projects serving victims of domestic abuse, stalking, sexual assault, or dating violence. The COC will notify all applicants of acceptance, rejection, or modification to their projects by December 31st. Councillor Obed Matul held the 2nd annual Ward 2 Christmas party the night of the 17th. Residents from all around the city stopped by to enjoy free food, holiday treats, and a free raffle full of gift cards.
Hello, my name is Obed Matul. I am the Ward 2 City Councilor, and today we are here at the Ward 2 holiday party. It's something that we did last year, and it was such a success that brought people together. So we decided to do it this time bigger. Today we're at Hood Elementary School. We have at least about 150, probably a little bit more, residents attend. We're also going to be doing free raffles from gift cards that were donated to us by small businesses around the city. It's great seeing everybody come together. Yes, eventually we do want to make an annual event happening for whatever time I'm councilor, and hopefully whoever comes after me can continue the tradition. I want to thank our 3 speakers as well, the Chief of Police, Chris Reddy, the City Planner, Aaron, and the ISD Director, Brett Bennett. So they were our guest speakers, and they're doing a great job joining us here. We have a lot of people here, so it's just great to see the community come together.
The Nan Project was founded just over 10 years ago as a way to destigmatize and prevent suicide in teens and young adults. One of their founders and an accompanying board member came on the Lowdown to discuss the events that led to the formation of this organization and the impact they have already had on young people across the Northeast. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dani Vittori. Welcome back to another edition of the Lynn Lowdown. And today we welcome on an organization, the Nan Project, and both their founder and a peer mentor from the group. Would you mind just quickly introducing yourselves? And thank you so much for coming on today.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. My name is Jake Cavanaugh. I'm the co-founder and director of the Nan Project.
Hi, my name is Arthur, and I'm a peer mentor with the Nan Project.
So for those who maybe aren't as familiar with you, would you be able to just give a brief overview of the Nan Project, why you helped co-found it, and its mission?
Absolutely. The Nan Project is a relatively new organization. We've been around about a decade, and we work to promote mental health education and suicide prevention programs in schools all over Massachusetts. We have an amazing group of peer mentors like Arthur here who go into classrooms and share their stories and get kids talking about mental health, using that lived experience to create a space where young people feel comfortable opening up and asking questions that they maybe had about their own experiences with mental health.
And Arthur, you even mentioned you worked in the Boston Public Schools. You connected about a year ago or so, but your experience is what drew you to this organization, wanting to help more kids.
Yes, I found that knowledge isn't power. Knowledge you can act on is power. So the practicality of going into a place and being able to say, here's what this thing is if you've never heard of it. Here's a way that you can plug into the resources available to you. Here's a way that you can put a name on something that might be confusing or even be seen as negative. Super helpful. And so I stepped out of Boston Public Schools, seeing some of those issues cropped up, and found that the Nan Project was actively doing something to address those things.
And your founding, you are named after a young woman as well, and I read your story, and it's a heartbreaking story, and you've made it into something that is just so incredible what you've done with that legacy.
Yeah, so we are named after my sister Nan, who died by suicide back in 2012. And after experiencing that tragic loss of my sister, my mother and I wanted to do something that could change the way that other young people address and look at and understand mental health. Looking at Nan's story, she grew up for many years struggling with depression, anxiety, a couple other mental health challenges, but in an atmosphere where we didn't really have the language to talk about mental health. No one really felt comfortable asking her how she was doing on those days when her mental health was doing the best.
Yeah.
But also, I think she felt very uncomfortable in her own shoes with those mental health diagnoses. And so understanding that just we really didn't have the words, we didn't have the knowledge, we didn't really have that understanding of what things like depression, anxiety, OCD were. We wanted to create a program that could bring that out from under the darkness and normalize the conversation around mental health so that other young people didn't have to experience it the same way.
And you've definitely done that. I saw one of the big things in your mission statement was reducing the stigma around mental health. I mean, there shouldn't be one, but there is, and you want to reduce that. So like you said, people are comfortable discussing their own mental health and asking for help if they need it.
Absolutely. I'll let Arthur speak a little bit to what he sees when he's in the classroom, because it's really the stories of our peer mentors that create that space for young people to talk about mental health. So if you want to speak a little bit about the comeback story and the power of that.
Absolutely. It's an incredible thing to be able to present yourself as a model for what it means to kind of step into and accept your own skin and your own situation. I heard this thing that I agree with, which is when you shine, you give other people permission to shine. I think that happens a lot in our classrooms. Just the act of standing up and sharing our stories has touched so many of the kids that we talk to. We've gotten kids come up to us and go, oh my gosh, like, thank you for doing this. I see so much of myself in you. Kids have been able to kind of break out of a shell and talk to their guidance counselors or what support is available in the school or classroom for them. The comeback story, sometimes I see it as more of a kind of snapshot of where a person is at. That idea of like, not only is there hope for the future, but like you are the future. I think kids just get a sense that like what they're looking at is their tomorrow because the person in front of them is experiencing their today. And so it's just a wonderful thing to be able to do, really potent and really fulfilling.
And you can definitely be a public speaker. You just phrased that so beautifully.
Thank you.
And the impact has been felt. You said, you spoke with 70,000 different students, peers, and you have programming for not just students, but for schools, caregivers, first responders. So you really try to cover the whole realm of people who are affected.
Certainly, and it's probably 2/3, maybe 3/4 of our work is with students, but the rest is those people that wrap around youth. So, as you said, educators are with students 5-6 hours a day. First responders may respond to a mental health call where a young person is struggling with a mental health challenge. So our goal is to give them the tools to recognize a young person who's struggling and then have the language to address that, have the tools to know how to support that person in their time of need, because we know that someone in crisis, how you respond can either exacerbate the situation or can vastly improve it. And so we want to make sure that everyone is going in there and understanding how they can help someone who really does need support.
And I know one thing you sometimes go over with the presentations, the workshops, is if you see a peer struggling or see someone struggling, how would you approach that? Because you said it can be a difficult topic to approach, and I don't know if Arthur, you can speak to that as being a peer mentor, but are there any recommendations or ways that you've found can really help peers or friends?
Yeah, 100%. So one, just the talking of it in and of itself, the kind of honesty that comes with kind of opening up and sharing about it. We've a little bit back to the previous question. We find that that happens a lot after our story. We go to our Q&A, which I tend to argue is maybe the most important part of it, just because kids get to ask questions that are directly on their mind, directly related to them. And just being able to open a dialogue is very, very important. I know some people may not be comfortable with that or just may feel like, I don't really have a mental health story to break out and share in that way. So we have a 3-step process that we do talk about, right? Check in with the person, say what you notice about them, depending on the warning signs that you may see in them, which we do talk about as part of our presentation, and then just listen to them. We say no judgment. Another way of saying that might be like no expectations. It's just good enough that they're starting the process. You might not be able to get them to like go anywhere with you or go see therapy or whatever it is that they decide to do, but the listening in and of itself is kind of the opening of a dam. And then lastly, especially if you're a person who feels kind of out of their depth, or maybe you're just a young person who happens to come across this or something, getting to a trusted adult, so someone with some kind of expertise or basically resources that you don't have available to you, that you can help that person who needs help start that chain of care that will get them somewhere. So check in, listen, get to a trusted adult or someone with expertise, professionalism, professional skill, or resources that you may or may not have.
Then, like you said, it's a simple enough process. It's very deep and emotional, but it's good you keep it to the 3 steps too, because you can remember that, you can go through that with the person itself. And I know you even list a few additional resources on your website, in addition to the Nan Project. Like there's the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and there's a few others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So 988 is one of the big ones that's come out over the last couple of years. It's kind of a 911 for a mental health crisis. And I think sometimes young people especially are a little nervous about calling because they think, okay, if I call this number, ambulance is going to show up, police are going to show up. And the person on the other end of that line is really, they're not trained to get emergency services involved as a first step. They're really trained to listen and problem solve with whoever's calling in that time of need. So we really do want to encourage anyone who may be struggling to reach out and call that number, 988. Massachusetts, we're actually very lucky to have another number, which I don't have on me right now, but it's Behavioral Health Helpline, which will connect you to local resources in your city or town, as well as the community behavioral health centers that every town is connected to.
Oh, wow. You said we are lucky to have that that second number, right? Another place to go. And the workshops that you do as well, you've gone to schools, you've gone to camps. I know you said you worked with the city with their summer program. So you, as you were saying, you'll go anywhere if people are interested in hearing your services.
Yeah, our goal is to get in front of as many young people as possible, get them talking about mental health, understanding mental health, and knowing that it's okay to have a mental health challenge and be comfortable knowing what resources are out there if they have a friend who might be struggling, know what they can do in those times.
Mm-hmm. You went through all the questions. I feel like we could talk about this for so much longer, but I know I have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else that you wanted to make sure you mentioned about the Nan Project or anything related?
Yeah, I'll add that in the mission to reach as many young people as possible, I find that we reach a lot of adults too, honestly. Yeah. I know we do some like QPR trainings, which is a question, persuade, and refer, which is like the more adult version of the check-in, listen, trusted adult that we do with the young kids. They're really interested in getting to know how they can do what you just asked, which is how can we connect and help the kids. But also it's illuminating for the adults as well. I've had teachers come up to me and go, I'm so amazed by that. I feel like I've stepped into a new understanding. I recently heard a story from Dana, who's our clinical director for Everett now, right? And she was saying that she did a QPR training, and one of the adults was like, I don't need this. They came back and they went, oh, I really am now thinking about some of the things that I went through in a new way, and they feel like that's gonna help them connect with their students. So these kind of things, whether they're directly asked for, or whether they're just experienced in the moment in the same way the kids are experiencing things in their own way, has an incredible impact. The community as a whole is being kind of bonded in this new understanding that we're presenting. And it's a big part of the thing. Even though kids are very independent or try to be, at the end of the day, they have much less control over their life and much more dependence on the caregivers that are responsible for them. And so when the caregivers also have that sort of epiphany, I guess, but that sort of realization, their lives get better, their quality of life gets better. And I would argue the same for those caregivers as well.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, as I said before, we'll go anywhere, so anybody who's watching and is interested in bringing some mental health programming to their organization, to their school, please reach out, www.thenanproject.org.
Right. Well, I have to thank you both for coming on today, for sharing the amazing work you're doing. You both presented it so well, and I really have to thank you again for this incredible service that you are providing for the community.
Well, thank you for having us here today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course, and as stated, you can check out any of the resources that were mentioned on this show or down on the bottom of the screen. But for now, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. St. Mary's Hockey has begun their season with a 2-1 record. The Spartans shut out Shrewsbury 5-0 on December 11th, then dominated Westford Academy 7-1 on the 14th. Their first loss came on the 17th in a 4-2 final with Archbishop Williams. Despite a 23-save night by goalie Nicholas Danino, the Lynn Jets fell to Somerville 3-2 on the 17th. While Spartan boys basketball improved to 2-0 off a 68-47 victory over St. John's Prep on the 16th. Roki Bree Arias netted 18 points in the win. While the Bulldogs registered their first victory of the season, defeating Greater Boston League foe Revere 56-47. Tied 35-35 at the end of 3, English began forcing turnovers and finding the open man, led by a 23-point night from Isaac Yankee. The Bulldogs went on a 12-4 run in the final 4 minutes to put the game out of reach. Classical followed suit, taking care of Medford 67-60 on the 18th. Leading the charge was Deshaun Rucker with 16 points and DJ Reynolds with 14. Kip had no trouble, dominating Whittier Tech 71-38 in their season opener. VC Howard and Ethan DiCiro propelled the Panthers to their first win of the year. Lynn Tech struggled against Shawshene Tech, dropping to 0-1 in a 63-43 final on the 16th. The Spartans were in a 29-13 hole at halftime and could not dig themselves out. In opposite fashion, the Girl Tigers came out swinging, dominating the Academy of Notre Dame 42-21. Allison Morales was everywhere, registering 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 6 steals for the visitors. 3 additional Tigers combined for 13 steals on the night. No home court was no problem for the St. Mary's girls, as they took care of business 75-32 against Malden Catholic. 4 Spartans had double-digit nights, led by McKenna O'Connell with 19. But both the Bulldogs and Rams fell short in their competitions. Classical was overtaken 45-42 by Medford, while English struggled in a 52-31 final with Revere. The Patriots finally met their match against AFC East rival the Buffalo Bills. In a home snow game, New England appeared to be in control, going up 24-7 by halftime. But the second half was a completely different game, as Buffalo outscored the Patriots 28-7 by controlling the ball and the clock. But with the win this week against the Ravens, the Patriots can still clinch a playoff berth and the AFC East. Anyone who has worked with nonprofit organizations knows how vital grants are in providing much-needed funding for programming. To this end, the Lynn Public Health Department hired a grant fellow as a way to both connect with young people in the community and create new programming with grant funding. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the Lynn Lowdown. I'm Dani Vittori, and today we welcome back on the Lynn Public Health Department with another department within it. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today. And we also have the grant specialist here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Of course. So for anyone who doesn't know, would you mind quickly reintroducing yourself and then introducing yourself to our audience?
Yes, I am Lisa Tobin, the Public Health Director for the City of Lynn. And I'm Damianny Garrido. I'm the grant specialist.
See, I knew you were going to say your name with the right accent, so I let you have that. I don't want to mess this up. I feel super bad about it. But you're here to talk about, it's really, really cool. There is a Lynn youth-led mental health initiative that has been starting. And first of all, I love that it's youth-led. But would you be able to talk a bit about this idea, where it came from? Like, how did you come up with an idea like this?
Yeah, so back in 2024, I was about to graduate. And I was kind of like in this manic feeling, trying to find something to bring back home with me because I was studying in DC at that moment. So I decided to reach out to Lisa Tobin back in 2024, and she was like, well, if you'd like to come to the Public Health Department and be a fellow for however long, come up with a proposal that we may like. And within that semester, I came up with 3. Wow. And she was like, great, we like the youth-led mental health one. And it kind of encompasses just trying to find a space for students within the space they're already at. A lot of students were kind of concerned with mental health concerns within schools, not having resources available to them or a space for them to really connect with each other at that personal level. And that's pretty much where it was born from. It's youth-led mainly because a lot of youth already know what they need and what they want, and if they're able to reach those goals themselves, they rather do it themselves without having to ask people, other people outside of who they're already comfortable with.
Yeah, and they maybe don't necessarily want someone who's older necessarily telling them what they might want or what they might need. They might say, no, I know my own mental health, I know what I need, and I want to work with my peers to come up with something, right?
And also, you can't really, determine what's youth. A youth can, range from, if you feel youthful at 45, then great, come along. But we have students that range currently from 16 to 23, and we're always welcoming new people, people from different schools. Right now, we have 3 high school students, and then the rest 5 are college students from Salem State, UMass Boston. We have students from Lynn Tech, Lynn Classical, Lynn English. So it's a very wide variety, and they all tell us different things from school, which is really helpful.
Yeah, one of the goals has been to empower young people to take control over their own mental health and to support each other in helping their friends take control of their own mental health. One of the things that was great when Dami reached out to me when she was graduating was I was able to give her our newly finished community health assessment and said, hey, take a look at this. You know, what do you think in these things you could bring to public health? Because I also wanted to ensure that, you know, she got some valuable experience out of it. And she came and she's fit in so well with us and she's worked so well and she's been able to get this off the ground. And it's become an integral part of so many of the different things that we work on in public health.
Yeah.
And we were like, you know, we were able to kind of like craft together a role for her to participate in all our grants. So all our grants, when we're working on them now, have this like youth mental health lens also focused on it. So it's been great.
It's brought a new perspective. And like you said, public health, some people may only think like physical health, but it's not. The mental health piece is just as vital and important and something you have to focus on in public health as well.
And that's definitely something that showed up in our community health assessment, especially after COVID-19, was that, you know, the number of young people who feel depressed and who may even have like, you know, suicidal ideation. We're seeing on the youth health surveys that kids are saying, you know, we need help. So empowering them and Dami being a young person, helping to empower them to help themselves has been really mind-blowing, actually.
Yes. And what topics have they been currently focusing on within the council? What have they come up with these are really what we want to focus on?
So as a group, we applied to the opioid abatement grant, and we were able to figure out what kind of projects we want to do in the next year. So we're starting off with stress-free kits, which will encompass like a series of like self-care necessities in just one kit. That's something that they're working on right now. They're able to find a variety of things that they think it's helpful for students to have not only in school but at home where they feel stressed or depressed or anxious. Even if it's just like a fidget toy or like having a face mask on, as well as just projects that we can do with other organizations in Lynn. So like we're definitely like doing our research of who are people that we want to partner up with that will value youth, but also like be able to understand this is youth-led and this is like our priority to have youth at these events. So it's their priority is just to start spreading the awareness that there's a youth-led initiative, but also like make it known that we're ready to, you know, hit it hard and let's start events, let's get people on board.
And you were on that note, you were mentioning you may start collaborating with in the drop-in center, so actually having youth go over and then lead other youth. So get even more people involved.
Yeah, we're investigating being able to have the youth participating in the youth-led mental health initiative trained in youth mental health first aid, which is a certified mental health first aid training. So it's trauma informed, it helps you be culturally competent and deal with people in certain age groups. So we're hoping to train them and we're hoping that we can get them to the teen drop-in center as well. So kind of youth on youth there.
That would be amazing. And like you said, others, they may be more receptive to other youth, you know, because they may find more in common with them. You may be able to connect more with them. At least that's been my experience typically.
Yep. And we find a lot of our kids, you know, they have younger siblings, so it's especially helpful at home. Like if they're the person at home who's always kind of trying to sort things out, like if your family is first generation to this country and you're the child who's always trying to help mom and dad or help a younger sibling, having those skills and that information supports them better as well.
And I know another big piece, Dami, that I saw on the website was reducing the stigma around mental health in general, but especially with youth, because unfortunately there are still stigmas around it. There shouldn't be, but has that been addressed at all, do you think, would you say, with the youth you work with?
Yeah, we've been addressing it slowly and surely, mainly through not only through our Lynn Public Health Instagram, but the students also have their main Instagram. So they do post a lot of awareness around like bullying, depression, anxiety. So whenever they go, they make a flyer or an infographic and they post it on their social media. So we've been able to try to destigmatize it. And it's kind of hard to, only because not every adult is on Instagram. So they've been trying to reach out towards different platforms and trying to become creative with it.
And you're already doing so much, because this initiative is still quite new, right? Yeah. It's less than a year old. So the fact that you've been able to do so much up to this point, it is quite amazing what you've been able to do with it so far.
Yeah. I'm actually surprised too. I was getting a little bit anxious because everybody has their own responsibility, like you mentioned, like take care of siblings, but also these students work, they have to go to school.
Yeah.
And by the time they're out of school and out of work, they're so tired. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Can you please help me with this post? And they're more than glad to do it because it's something that's important to them.
Yeah, it's been a real boots on the ground kind of effort. They've been working very hard, the kids, in organizing themselves and kind of creating their own area of cultural norms for when they work together and what they want to do and how they support each other. And it's been impressive because there really have been, Damianny is an adult, but she's a young adult, but there have been no old adults like myself involved in this. So it's been really great to see what they've been able to pull together for themselves.
It is. It's a fantastic initiative, you said, and you're building off of each other, building forward. And I guess looking forward, as you're looking into the future, what would be some of your goals as you continue with this initiative?
We just want to increase membership-wise, so we want more people to attend monthly meetings. We want more ideas and more observations. We want to know what the youth want. Even though so far we only have 8 voices, it'd be great to have 30, 40. Public Health has been amazing with providing us a meeting space. If they don't want to meet virtually, we can meet in person, and it's great for them because they get to know what public health is and what we do as well. And then we get to just hear in what they want to see from the city. They've been really helpful with surveys that we've ever needed filling out, very helpful with attending events. So far we just want more of the youth to attend, so that'll be really helpful.
And you mentioned monthly meetings. Are those typically virtual? Are they in person? When do they happen?
Typically virtual. In the summer, they're more in person. But now that they're in school, it's better to meet virtually.
Oh, yeah, that does make sense. You mentioned a few of them are in college, so they're not here. When during the month does that usually happen, and can anyone join? How would that work if people are interested?
Anybody can join. We usually post it on our social media page. That'll be Lynn Youth-Led Mental Health. And they are usually on there. They'll post it at least 2 weeks in advance because they're also sending their schedules, and we kind of find a day and a time that we can all meet. It's usually later in the day and sometimes on the weekdays. So it kind of changes here and there.
Well, they're definitely more organized than I was at that age, so, and you are as well, so I give you a lot of credit for that. But I absolutely love this, the youth-led initiative. You can just tell how much you care about, you both care about it. And I know I have to wrap up in a moment, but was there anything else you wanted to make sure that we mentioned about the initiative, any of the programming, or anything that you wanted people to know?
No, just check us out. Just follow along. Check out Public Health as well. We're super glad that people are interested in this, and I hope that they're able to not only just be along the youth, but also just come join us if they'd like. But at the end of the day, it's really youth-led. And it's really important for it to stay that way. So I'm glad that Public Health has able to facilitate that and help that. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Always invite the public to come down to the resource room, see what we have to offer. Look on our website to see. We're trying to keep that updated. Follow us. We always try to put information out, and we're just happy to be there for the residents.
No, you are, and you're doing a fantastic job on it, and I want to thank you again so much for coming on to really spread the message about this amazing initiative you have going on down there.
Thank you.
Of course, anytime, and any youth who are interested, be sure to check them out. But for now, I'm Dani Vittori. This has been the Lynn Lowdown, and we'll see you next week with more guests. If you need a place to wrap your gift away from family and friends, head to the Lynn Library for one of their self-serve gift wrapping sessions. The final session is on Saturday, December 20th, and begins at 2:30 p.m. Wrapping paper and other supplies will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. Go wrap your holiday gifts at the Lynn Public Library in a fun, festive space away from curious eyes. Then head to the courtyard outside My Brother's Table at 4 p.m. on the 21st for Homeless Persons Memorial Day. The Lynn Coalition of Care, in collaboration with Lynn Housing Authority and Neighborhood Development, will be holding a candlelit vigil to honor those who lost their lives as a result of being unhoused. There will also be guest speakers, including people with lived experience of homelessness sharing their stories. Christmas Eve is next Wednesday, and with it comes the annual Lynn Christmas Eve Parade. The parade will begin at 5 p.m. from Austin Square and follow the traditional route, traversing the entire city before concluding at 15 Avon Street around 10 p.m. Residents can access an interactive Google map of the annual parade route, complete with estimated times of arrival and locations at lyntv.org. The parade will also take 2 10-minute breaks at approximately 6 and 8:30 p.m. Again, please do not contact the Lynn Police or Fire Department to ask where the parade is. They should only be contacted in the event of an emergency. Visit the official parade Facebook page for information and location updates on the night of the parade. That is a wrap on this week's episode of the LCTV News. As we approach the end of the year and the start of a new one, be sure to stay updated on all the latest happenings by following us at Lynn Community TV. For full coverage of the Christmas Eve Parade, as well as all events and government meetings from 2025, be sure to visit lyntv.org. Lynn Community Television on YouTube is your place for all staff videos, PSAs, and special programming. We are off next week for Christmas, but we will be back next year for even more news and announcements. I'm Dani Vittori, and this has been the LCTV News. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year, everyone.
This episode of the LCTV News is brought to you by Leo Inc., Daolis Brothers Construction, and King Movers and Storage.